You know, for a chapter about rest, a lot happens. Before we have this review of chapter 327 of My Hero Academia, please do me a favor and leave your own thoughts on the chapter in the comment section down below. Leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Also, make sure you hit the little notification bell so you don't miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Now, let's get into it. What's up, guys? I got Pencil here, and here we are to review chapter 327 of My Hero Academia, which is known as Rest! Exclamation point, exclamation point. And let's hop right on into it. So we see this chapter open up with a whole bunch of teenagers being extremely comfortable with each other. I know these people are like family at this point, so this shouldn't surprise me. It really shouldn't. But like, when I hear them open up and the chapter opens up and they're all like, strip, throw them in a bath, we're bathing together. Like, I know it's a more comfortable thing in Japan, but like they are naked. I thought that you at least had towels. But then again, I've never been to Japan. I don't know much about the culture other than like what I've consumed through manga and anime. So I don't know. Maybe this is just a normal thing that teenagers do. I wouldn't. Even with my best homie, I would not hop into a bath with them. But hey, I'm not here to judge. You know, it's the current year. I'm not here to judge anybody. You know, let them rock. And I do find it hilarious how like it's such an interesting group to do it too. Like Ojiro, Mineta, Kirishima, and Kaminari. Like you could make most of that, and Sero, I guess he's just not seen in that like big shot when they're all like teaming up against Dirty Midoriya. So it's this interesting scenario. I don't know why. It made me laugh. It made me smile, especially like all the little chibi heads that pop up when they're all nice and satisfied. When Kaminari says "no things in the world can be solved by a good bath." It's a nice scene. It's a nice scene to show like how comfortable they are with each other and how important they think like just getting Midoriya to rest and relax is. And you can see how Midoriya just wasn't ready to be assaulted by like that based on the look at his face. He's like, I've seen things I've never wanted to see, and I've felt things I've never wanted to feel. All might help me. And then we get Bakugo being Bakugo. And like see, I'm not sure how I feel about Bakugo. Like, I get it. Nah, he's fine. Like, sure, he still like wants some physical abuse to Deku. Like, he wants to scrub his skin raw with a wire brush and industrial strength cleaner, which I'm pretty sure, I mean, Midoriya is super durable, so it probably wouldn't do anything to him if we're being completely real, like in the context of power scaling industrial cleaner and wire brush. That man has been eating hits and taking shots like crazy, so obviously a little wire brush wouldn't probably do too much to him. But at the same time, gosh darn it, Bakugo, stop ensuing physical harm when the boy's been going nothing through physical harm. But we get to see the real reason. Like, after everyone starts to rag on him, like, he does actually take it into account. Like, once again, Bakugo's development is one of my favorites in the series alongside Endeavor's. Like, a Bakugo from chapter 1, a Bakugo from chapter 100 probably, heck, a Bakugo from probably even 100 chapters ago from this point, probably wouldn't have, like, just responded with a light splash, shut his mouth, and been like, yo. He's literally straight honest with them, like, regardless of how I feel about y'all now, regardless of how much I've changed, regardless of how I'm literally the best character in this entire class, it be like that when it be like that sometimes. Y'all are still my rivals. I still need to give it my 100% to defeat y'all. I can't just sit back, rest on my laurels, and give up. And I think that's cool. I think that I'm glad that he's still like, he's in his Bakugo mindset, but he's changed enough that his actions are reflecting his development and his new understanding of the situation. That's good. I like that. I like when you see that physical, tangible character development that isn't just like stated. Like, we get it. He's changed. And we as a reader especially see that. But unlike a later point in the chapter where it's just explicitly said, I've changed, Bakugo has changed in specific ways that we as a reader, and probably his friends, even though they won't acknowledge it or probably can't register it, has changed in a drastic way. And I do like that. That's very, very good. And I also like how he's trying. He's getting better. Give him time. And like, we all call him that, like, even me out of reflex, despite me usually calling Midoriya, like, I never refer to him as Izuku. I don't know, that's something I rarely ever do. Like, I've done it in the past, but usually it's whenever I'm saying his full name, or it's just like the first name association that pops into my head just because of where I'm from. But like, the context of Deku being an insult, like, I know it was flipped by Uraraka, but I still always, like, whenever I think back to the origin of that name, that was literally just an insult that means, I think it literally means worthless. I'm not sure if that's what it means. I like the main context I have for the word Deku is Deku Scrub from Legend of Zelda, just to show you how much I know about how much I know about that word. But I know Bakugo always uses it as an insult. So like knowing that this insult flips around, especially when it's being used by the original guy who made it up, like I know he still calls him Izuku at the end as a way to like show respect and show how he's changed. I don't know that name ever being flipped to the positive sense always like kind of messed with me. It's kind of like I can't see. It's not to the same degree, and I'm not even gonna say it. But if you can probably take a guess of what I'm thinking of, it's like if you took something that was historically bad, like nomenclature wise, and tried to make it a good thing because one person tried to make a good thing, and then you make that like touchy subject nomenclature wise like your major nomer around the entire world. I don't know. I wouldn't rock with it, but hey, Midoriya rocks with it, so it's fine. He even literally says Deku is fine, Kachan, and there you go. I guess that's settled. And we do get to see that afterwards, everyone is just chilling in the dorms. Like, they're just hanging out. We find that Uraraka, after her big old speech in the rain, got a mean case of hypothermia and is knocked out. No, I'm kidding. But she's just tired. And I guess, like, shout out to this boy Midoriya. This man hasn't slept in days. And meanwhile, I mean, is it rude to do? Nah, I can't devalue what Uraraka. Uraraka did a lot, I guess. Like, she did zero gravity to help Ida go catch Midoriya, and she yelled at some people, which led to another dude yelling at some people. Then they calmed down. So I'll let it slide just a little bit, but come on now, Uraraka, like, please do more. No, I'm kidding. But regardless of that, we get to see that Midoriya, he's really grateful to everyone, and is like thankful that they all came out to help him, and he apologizes, which is good. I think Midoriya, this is character development. Because Midoriya is willing to take things and let other people help him with it genuinely without it being like... It's weird to say, like, Midoriya in the past has accepted help, but it's only been in scenarios when, like, he literally... Not that he couldn't say no to the help, but it would have been more problematic if he said no to the help before. Like, this isn't... Midoriya is no longer taking away people from a situation. Like a situation that's super dangerous, Midoriya isn't just pushing people to the side and saying, I'll do it myself, I'll take all the burdens upon myself. He's literally willing to let his friends come out and be like, we'll take the burden onto ourselves, our burden. You know what Midoriya's about now. I think that's good. That's character development. That's what I like. There you go, Midoriya. I'm proud of you. Not a flat character anymore. There you go. And we get to see how everyone's sort of reacting to him having one for all. Like, and this is sort of downplayed. And I guess because they're so wrapped up in Midoriya's like whole emotional send off, but like, especially if I was in class 1A, right, and I had been with this dude for all this time, and I found, but then again, I have to take the context of the situation at hand. But like, I wouldn't just be asking questions like, "Ooh, what's that feel like? How's that doing?" I'd literally be like, "So you lied to us for like an entire year." Okay, like I'd probably be one of the ones sitting there that's like super happy that he's back, but also being like, this man really straight lied to us to our faces multiple times. Wow, that's crazy. I'm glad he's back, but that's kind of whack. Like I don't know. I feel like I'd feel a little bit more awkward about this situation. But regardless of that, it's fine that everyone's treating them like this. Once again, the emotional context of the situation probably suppressed any like he was lying to us this entire time. That probably got rid of all that, and I think that's fine. But we also get to see that Midoriya really can't sleep at this moment despite Todoroki's wants, because Midoriya still feels guilty about letting All Might down like that. Like, he legit threw his mental box on the ground and went zoom off into the distance. And look who should happen to appear but All Might himself, and he apologizes for not being able to help Midoriya that much. And then these two essentially have an apology party, and see, Mina, shut up. Like, it feels bad to say, but like when Mina has this reaction of, you think we could get a mighty apology of our own since you left us in the dark and just bounced? Mina, the man has no obligation to you. Well, no, he does. He's a teacher, but at the same time, what good was he going to do just sticking around here being protected with y'all? Nothing. To be fair, he could have barely done good with Midoriya, but still, like, at least he could have been a guide to Midoriya. He could have been something useful to Midoriya. He could have been literally what he was doing, keeping Midoriya remotely fed and well rested or something like that, keeping in contact with him, being a mentor in some way, shape, or form. Like, he could have done that. mean, I hate to say it, but I don't think y'all are the ones who need the attention right now. It's like, and see, that goes with the earlier point of like me being confused why none of them are mad that he lied. But at the same time, if you're fine with that, if you're able to suppress the fact that Midoriya lied to y'all for a while because this man was literally going through emotional stress and trauma, because he's the only person that can actually stop a multinational threat of a supervillain that can literally level entire cities with touches. Like, if you're able to let that slide, I feel like you should be able to let All Might slide for helping out and supporting the one dude that can actually save the world. Like, Mina, chill out. It's not that serious. But regardless of that, I say regardless of that a lot. I just noticed that. But regardless of that, it seems that All Might has come together, and after he apologizes, he explains that we're about to hit endgame. If we, like, we're in the end game, but we're about to hit the climax of the end game. Like, we gotta muster our forces. Everyone's gotta get rested. Everyone's gotta prepare themselves, because it seems like these days, while he can't help that much, he knows that Shigaraki's days are on the verge of happening, and they need to be prepared, well rested, and ready to stop him, and or else the world is destroyed. And like, there's nothing they can do if the world is destroyed. So, bada bing, bada boom. And then we get to see that Midoriya goes on to say that the only reason he got messed up is because he didn't have All Might around. And see, I wish, like, this goes back to why I wish the villain hunt arc was a bit longer, because like, I don't get that sensation, because Midoriya collapsed. Midoriya abandoned All Might, went on fighting for not even an entire chapter before running into his classmates again. Like, I feel like there's like very little link there between I almost failed because I didn't have you, All Might, and I'm glad you're back. Like, it doesn't hit as hard as it could have, as if we've seen like Midoriya like legitimately thinking, like, after multiple fights, during multiple fights, I'm hungry. If only I didn't leave All Might. Or like, if like legitimately just reflecting on himself, like thinking in these moments, oh man, it'd be great if I had someone here to support me, but I've cut off everybody who would support me. Like, I feel like if there was more time where we could actually get Midoriya self-reflecting on the things he's done, and not just get a wordless chapter about Midoriya going through it and like fighting the good fight, I feel like that would have been better and would have made a moment like this hit more. But it doesn't, and I can't change that. Once again, Horikoshi, super fast-paced writer whenever he feels like it. He feels like that a lot of the time. So we get to see that Midoriya, once again, showing off that character development, is that he's saying, together, we're going to do it together, and we shall protect what you hold dear. And I think that's great. And I love how All Might, like, All Might feels like super old in this panel. I'm not sure. It's probably because like the extra angular design Horikoshi did for him in this one panel. But like, seeing him just say thank you to these young kids, he's like, it's great to see. I do like that. It's a happy yet sad moment where All Might's like, I really am a relic who needs to catch up. Gosh darn it. And I think that's cool. But then we get to see, after All Might did all the apologies and stuff like that, he's got to go. And of course, everyone asks, like, yo, where are you going? What's happening? And All Might's like, Midoriya and you kids need to rest, but we adults, the world just doesn't stop because you kids need to rest. We need to keep getting things done on the sidelines while y'all build back up, since we need to rely on you kids. And I think that's a good dichotomy. Like, even if the adults aren't the powerhouses in the scenario anymore, even though we do have like Endeavor and stuff like that, even if they are the powerhouses and the world of like the combat is based a lot more on the kids, I'm glad that the adults aren't like purposeless now. Like, they aren't just going to be sitting around waiting for the plot to progress with the kids. The kids are still following the adults' leads and like what information they gather, what they can do. I'm glad the adults still have purpose, because lots of times in series like this, after a while, the adult characters or like the mentor type characters would just fade into the background and not necessarily be like active plot members, and would literally just be the students or like the new generation just going, doing whatever they would do. And I think it's much better that the adults are still keeping that purpose. I'm glad Horikoshi's doing that rather than just being like, all right, the age of old is over. So I'm glad that's happening. Then we get to see that after All Might leaves, I wonder why the kids are shocked about that though. Like, they're shocked that Endeavor and the other heroes will be joining them at UA. Like, I know they're probably also tired, but they, unlike Midoriya, probably have some self-control and know when to take a nap and know when to eat. And also, they're still super busy. Like, just especially since Midoriya is gone, they do need to like up the hero work to actually save civilians. But then we get to see, while people are questioning, like, yo, why is Endeavor and his people not coming here? Todoroki, the person who has direct ties to Endeavor, sort of takes over the remainder of the chapter, or at least the UA remainder of the chapter, because we see Midoriya has conked out, and Todoroki comes and puts a blanket over him, and we get to see that the people did not have a complete change of heart thanks to Uraraka and the one dude. They are still a little bit skeptical. They just let Midoriya come here and take a nap. And Todoroki explains, since the Todoroki family is essentially like the B plot of My Hero Academia, they're probably a bit worried still because Todoroki's there, and he's the son of Endeavor, the greatest hero that lied to a whole bunch of people, and he's also the brother of Dabi, the mass murderer. And neither of these people alone would be good, both Midoriya or Todoroki, but together it's all the more worrying. And I like how Todoroki is reflecting on himself here. Like, he's sitting there like, yeah, in the physical way, I may have done nothing wrong. I didn't lead to the creation of a mass murderer, nor am I a mass murderer. However, by obsessing over my blood and not trying to do better for myself with the blood I had, that means I am, in a way, implicitly responsible for all the other things that happen. And while I think that's like, I can see that being true from a certain point of view, I don't think that's all too accurate, but I'm glad Todoroki, in some way, is acknowledging the fact that he made a mistake hating Endeavor for all those years instead of using him as a resource. But at the same time, I don't blame him for not using Endeavor as a resource. He was literally, never, as much as I like to die, even though he's one of my, if not my favorite character in My Hero Academia, he still was like a physical abuser to you, Todoroki, and he didn't let you have friends or family. So I completely get why you hated him. It's a mixed bag with the Todoroki family, but I think that's good. I think Horikoshi, by having me like question myself and stuff like that, that's good for him to do. That's very, very good on his part to be able to write characters that well. Them sitting here like, I like Endeavor, but I don't like what Endeavor did. Like, I think that's very, very good. And we get to see, like, this is where I say it's like a little blunt. Like, Horikoshi's like, I did it subtly with Bakugo, but here you go. Boom. Todoroki just says, but I've changed and I'm going to prove it. Nobody has to worry about me anymore. And no offense, Todoroki. Is it bad? Like, I'm going to have to say this. I don't think anyone was worried about you. Like, like I'm not sure. Maybe because I'll admit I'm not all too active in the My Hero Academia fandom. I'm really not. Mainly just because I don't know. I'm weird and I'm busy, so I don't have the time to really interact outside of like seeing fan art and occasionally like reading fan fiction and stuff like that. So I don't know much of like the opinion of Todoroki up to this point, manga wise at least. But I feel like all the main focus and worry has been on Midoriya. So Todoroki, I think. Don't worry, you're fine. No one was worried about it. I don't even think your own classmates were worried about you. They weren't asking, Todoroki, are you okay? Huh? Who? They were worried about Midoriya, the guy who actually like straight disappeared. But regardless of that, we get to see that everyone is like, they have all this worry. And while they are like resting a little bit, they still need to like come together and have a moment. And Jiro, of all characters, decides to show off how strong her darn earlobes are. She manages to pull over Kaminari, Momo, and Tokoyami, all with her 2 earlobes. Them things are swole, golly, and they can extend pretty darn long. Like, that's impressive. The dexterity, like, that's like having 2 tails growing out of your earlobe. Like, I can shift my ears, but I can't even wiggle my earlobes. The dexterity and control. Shout out to Jiro. But regardless of that, we get to see that Jiro is using one of the main critiques I had as their character as a sort of point to her benefit. And like, I'll let it slide. I'll let it slide, Kyoke. I'll let it slide. I'll let you do that, earphone jack. Because she tries to say that like people were doubting UA's performance or possible performance in the cultural festival too. They weren't all too excited for that. And she straight up admits it's not the same situation, but hopefully the best way that they can reassure people and bring smiles to their faces is to just give it their all. Show them everything they're made of. And I think, while implicitly implied, is good. Horikoshi, once again, like, at the end of all things, at the end of all days, no matter how many adults love, read, critique, analyze, break down this series, this is a series for kids. At the end of the day, this is for young boys. It is a shonen manga. So for her to have Jiro explicitly state the obvious of them like trying to do their best, it's very important. It's very good. And I'm glad that message is coming out of a character who, once again, I believe through the cultural festival, while she learned something important for herself personally, didn't learn much as a hero. But if Horikoshi flipping it like this, I like the flip. I'm glad that he's using it like that. I'm glad he's using Jiro once again, an underutilized character, like a lot of the characters in 1A. So I think that's very, very good. Then we get to see that they're going to go beyond and go above all of them. But there's a problem here, because we get a cut to the heroes, and the heroes in specific are Hawks and Beshinus, and they seem to be on the phone with a certain someone, a certain Endeavor, and we realize that Stain, the information he gave All Might last chapter, is actually very pivotal, because they thought they had 2 months to prepare for Shigaraki, or at least at first, relative to the time, based on the estimations the doctors gave them of Shigaraki's development, how these upgrades were, and how extensive they were, and how quickly they could be done. There was 2 months from the start of when Shigaraki attacked to when they appeared, and this sort of quantifies the time skip, like the unknown time skip that we got, like when Midoriya left UA to now. I think that's like low. Kind of sort of quantified as about 1 month, because they thought they had like a month's worth of wiggle room left at the end of the chapter. So they have 1 month. They thought they had 1 month to prepare for Shigaraki, but the new information that Stain came up with is completely changing that. And we also find out that Stain wrote like a deranged love letter to All Might. Like, Stain, you're a freak, man. You're a weirdo, and in multiple ways, but you do good for the story. I'll give you that. And that's the end of the chapter. I think this was a very solid chapter. I do like how it is simultaneously like a return to the academy while at the same time focusing on the main plot. Like, that's good stuff. I like all the character stuff within the chapter, for whether it be from All Might to Midoriya to Bakugo to Todoroki to Jiro. I think all that really, really good stuff. I think the last intro twist that really pulls us deep back into the plot with the whole like Stain thing. Stain brings super secret information that's actually going to be super pivotal. I think that's very, very good to see. There's a lot of good stuff within this chapter that I personally appreciate, and I'm glad it's here. And honestly, I give the chapter a solid 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10. Like, there's nothing extraordinary in this chapter. There's nothing that like literally makes me sit back and like go on multi-galaxy level exploration simply in my head in sheer shock of the sheer writing quality and narrative put on display like last chapter. But in terms of like this chapter's quality alone, it's still very, very good. It's just not like 11 out of 10 mind-blowing. I love every single symbolism and page in this chapter like I did last chapter. However, that's it for my thoughts. And please tell me what your guys' thoughts are. Whoa. Please tell me what your guys' thoughts are in the comment section down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And make sure you hit the little notification bell so you don't miss out on any videos that come on the channel. Thank you guys so much for watching once again. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is That Guy with the Pencil, writing off.